Facebook. All I have is a 20-gallon compressor. Do you have any tips on techniques to keep spraying? Well, you really can't do much with a 20-gallon compressor because you don't have a lot of volume storage, right? So, nothing you can really do besides play catch up with your air compressor. So, it's going to be kicking on and off. I wouldn't suggest painting any large projects. You could probably get away doing a hood, a fender, a motorcycle, no problem, parts and all that, no problem. But as far as that thing constantly running, and you sucking up all the air out of that machine, out of the compressor, painting a car, it's not going to happen. If you're going to paint the car, I would actually recommend at least a 33-gallon, 3 to 5 horsepower that puts out enough CFM to where you can actually spray. You're still going to have to play catch up, wait a couple of minutes for your air to fill the tank and get, so you got more air to paint. So I've done it multiple times, painting complete cars with a 30 to 33 gallon air compressor. It can be done. It's a little tricky, but it can be done. 20-gallon is more for smaller parts, single parts. How deep of a hole can I use the glaze? Can I put epoxy primer or wait till primer filler? Well, glaze putty can be used to fill rock chip type dents or chips and scratches. So however deep a scratch is, you can fill it with glaze putty. Okay, but I would feather it out first and then put some glaze putty on it. Okay, any type of scratches, you're pretty much good with glaze putty. Scratches and chips. It says came out pretty good, but I was too light on the clear coat. When I tried to cut and buff, I went down to the base silver on a couple of corners. Can I just go over at 600 and redo the base count? Yes, absolutely, you could do that. So you're going to have to get it down to 600, 4 or 600, pretty much the same arena. Rebase it and then redo your candy, and you'll be good to. Tony says, hey, Tony, I just purchased the Atom X20 spray gun as you recommended, and the results were absolutely awesome. It was much better than my DeVelvis spray gun, like night and day. So there you go. I feel Atom guns are really, really good. Been painting with them for years now, and they do the job for me. Hey, are the Atom X20 high volume, low pressure and low volume, low pressure same gun? Can I just take the needle kit to make it? It's actually a different gun, different setup inside also, as far as the air valves. So it's a different gun. You cannot put a high volume, low pressure cap on a low volume, low pressure setup gun. That's why they sell them separately. They're totally two different guns. So hopefully that answered your question there. What is your procedure for a new raw bumper to paint? So depending on, new raw bumper, I don't know. It could be, your bumper could have primer on it already, brand new. It can have an E-coat on it. Normally metal pieces have E-coat, but I've seen some plastic have an epoxy paint primer on it, or an E-coat on plastic as well. If there is like a black primer on it, you can sand that and you could paint right over it, or you can sand it, spray 2 coats of 2K filler primer just to coat it, and then wet sand that so you have a nice sanded primed foundation, and base coat, clear coat right on top of that, or single stage right on top of that. So, you could normally you have to refinish brand new parts to get it ready for paint. So, like I said, metal, a lot of metal, new metal parts from factory or secondhand market, they come black, which is an e-coat primer. It's a very thin. I like to prime on top of that. I don't like to usually paint. You could paint on it if you sand it with 4 to 600. You could paint right over it. But I like to give it a coat of primer, of gray primer, and then put my base coat clear coat on top of that. So hopefully, Anderson says, I'm about to spray clear coat over my single stage candy apple red paint job. How long can I wait after spraying single stage candy apple red? Longer the better. So you sprayed your candy apple red single stage. It's dry, right? I'm assuming right now it's dry. I like to let single stage cure for about 2 weeks before buffing it, or before adding a clear coat over it. So I would just let it cure for 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. If you're not in a rush, let it cure for a month. Then you can go over it with 800 grit. If you're going to clear coat it, use 800 grit. Don't go with 6, don't go with 4. It's too coarse. 800 grit is the perfect sand tooth where your clear coat will fill in the scratches and it will look nice again when you clear over it. So hopefully that helps. It says, when I sand down Bondo, why is there always another low spot right next to where I sanded Bondo? Multiple times happened to me. Am I still high on Bondo area? Okay, so it depends, man. It's just that you're screwing up on the body work phase right now. You're maybe your hands are confused with high and low. You might want to use a guide coat. And also, when repairing a dent, okay, say this dot here is a dent. I know this picture is going to look funny. Okay, say this is a indention on a panel. Okay, and it's dented in. So normally when you get a dent or a ding, you're going to get a high spot around it. Okay, this area tends to buckle up. Looks like a whatever. So when you're pulling out a dent, could be a square dent or a rectangle or whatever, you want to tap down around here just a little bit while pulling the center out. You want to tap here, and then you're going to basically grind the whole thing, right? And you're going to put a skin of body filler. My pen doesn't work. Freaking pen doesn't work. But you're going to lay, your body filler over it this way, right? And then you're going to block it out flat. If you're having issues, I would definitely use a guide coat. Okay. A lot of people, sometimes if you have a wobbly panel that's very thin metal, you're working on a middle of a hood or a door, a Honda door where it's very thin. If you push too much while you're sanding, you're going to buckle and indent. So you don't want to push too hard when you're doing your blocking when sanding also, because that can throw everything off. So you just got to be careful. Dom, do you have access to my VIP course? If you don't, I highly recommend you to check out VIP, because we show you step-by-step in video how to tackle projects and dents like this. So don't forget, go there to learn Autobody, get the free training, and then check out VIP. We have a special offer where you can become VIP. It's worth it. There's over 200 hours of step-by-step Autobody videos that talk about everything, and not just talk. We show you everything, all on video, step-by-step how to do body work. So hopefully that helps. Have you ever painted with crystal effect? When I redo my rear end, I'd like to add a little something to break up the red candy. Yeah, it's basically just flake or pearl, crystal effect. It's just another additive that you put in your clear coat. Yeah, absolutely. You could put it in clear, or you can put it in a mid coat, which is a clear base coat. You could use a carrier, like DBC 500 by PPG. It's like a clear base coat. You mix it up, add your flake, pearl, or crystal effect, whatever, and then you spray that on, and then you put clear coat on top of that. Would you recommend spray clear coat on rusted truck patina? I don't recommend it, but if that's something that you want to test out and try, go for it. It can be done. Delaware, I'm working on a quarter panel body line and having a hell of a time trying to get it perfect. Can you recommend certain blocks that could help, or do you have a method for body lines? Body lines, I mean, you can use, masking tape to kind of give you a body line when you're doing blocking. I'm not sure, um, you know, what body line you're working on. If you're working on a convex, like, around a fender, or a straight body line in a door or a side of a fender or a wheel well. I'm not sure what type of body line you're working on, but you're going to want to switch between long and short blocks. I use Durablock. I use tape. You could use guide coat. Okay, guide coat can come in handy, and I don't use that powder guide coat or all that crap. I just use a cheap 1K flat black. Okay, that's the best guide coat you can get. Any type of $1 can of cheap black, flat black. It's all you need. And just work it. If you want to send me a video, Ketis, on, is your name? Yeah, Cletus. Send me a video. I can kind of give you maybe I can kind of help you out and give you some feedback on that. But hard for me to give you any feedback without looking at what you're doing. And so yeah. Goes down the entire quarter and it bumps out at a 45. So yeah, it's all about feathering and working with the body line, man. It's pretty much artwork. When you're doing body work like that, it's pretty much artwork. But over time, I'm sure you'll get it. It's basically a lot of guide coating, primer, and multiple coats of body filler. Because if you screw up, if you take off too much, then you got to go put more back on. So that's pretty much it. It takes time. Be patient. It's just a panel. Everything can be shaped with a block. As far as blocking goes, your best bet would be to use a 12-inch block. You can use one of these like this. I haven't used it yet, but this is a nice 12-inch block by Durablock. You can get sticky sandpaper that sticks right on it, or you can just go old school, wrap it and hold it with your hands, with your thumb here. You got, round blocks, for doing, this stuff is perfect for like doing, in here. I've used it multiple times on classic cars. Like in this section here, if this hardtop wasn't here, this whole section would be kind of like rounded up going into the roof here. And these types of block are perfect for doing body work in here. But so yeah. What is the inner coat? I'm thinking you're talking about the Carrier, which is DBC 500 by PPG. You can use that as a clear base coat. It's a Carrier. You could put flake in it, pearl, whatever you want as a mid coat, spray it on over your base coat, and then put clear on top of that. Have you ever used Upol products? Yes, I have. Upol makes a good product. So whatever they got, if you feel like you want to test it, I would go ahead and test it. I use Upol Raptor Liner, some of their Rust products. Recommend for small compressors. I would use, if you're looking for a standard size spray gun, check out the X20. It's a good starter. It's a good starter spray gun, the Atom X20 or the X27, low volume, low pressure version, because not only does it use less materials, but it consumes a little less air. But if you really want to go for air consumption and using less air, the X88 is fantastic at that. That also is a low volume, low pressure HTE spray gun, which is a fancy acronym for high transfer efficiency. So I'm just going to post a link, guys, here to Zula.com. You can check out some of the spray guns there, and any guns that you buy at Zula, they give you a free gun bud ultra lighting system, which is the mounting light unit that basically lights up your garage, your paint when you paint. It's good for candies, blending, all around. Super cool. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next week.